examining creative choices defying history. However, you haven't provided the paragraph. Can you please share the first paragraph of the podcast script so I can expand on it and provide more details, examples, or explanations to make it more comprehensive? On the surface, it seems obvious that creative work is always pushing against the boundaries of what's come before. After all, that's the essence of innovation, right? But what if we're not just talking about tweaking the rules or riffing on familiar tropes? What if we're talking about creating something that directly, brazenly defies the very fabric of history? That's a different story altogether. Think of creative choices that don't just interpret the past, but actively contradict it. Think of a film that reproposed the mythology of an ancient civilization in a way that's fundamentally at odds with the culture's original intentions. Think of a novel that takes a pivotal historical event and flips it on its head, presenting a version of events that's the opposite of what we learned in school. What's striking about these kinds of creative choices is that they don't just challenge the status quo, they challenge our understanding of the past itself. They make us question the narratives and myths that have been passed down to us and confront us with new perspectives that might be uncomfortable or even distressing. This is not just about creative freedom or pushing against boundaries for its own sake. It's about using art to disrupt our assumptions and to reveal fresh truths that might have been hidden or suppressed. And that's exactly what makes these kinds of creative choices so both fascinating and unsettling. They have the power to change the way we think about the world and our place within it. This phenomenon of honoring history through creative reinterpretation is a fascinating example of how artists can breathe new life into the past without merely paying homage. By distilling historical narratives down to their underlying essence, creatives can uncover new themes, motifs, and symbolism that challenge our conventional understanding of a particular era or culture. For instance, consider filmmaker Hayao Miyazaki's adaptation of Japan's national epic, The Tale of the Hike. While Miyazaki's animated film, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, isn't a direct retelling of the original epic. It's loosely based on a chapter from The Tale of the Hike and draws from the same mythological wellspring. By distilling the core elements of the story, Miyazaki creates a new narrative that feels both timeless and deeply rooted in Japanese culture. This process of extraction and reinterpretation can also be seen in the work of writers like Toni Morrison, who takes historical events and figures and spins them into complex, multi-layered narratives that expose the deeper psychological and emotional currents beneath the surface. Her novel, Beloved, for example, is a fictionalized account of the horrors of slavery, but it's not a straightforward retelling of historical facts. Rather, it's an exploration of the ways in which trauma and memory are intertwined, and how they continue to haunt individuals and communities long after the initial event has passed. Through her creative reinterpretation of history, Morrison reveals the invisible, psychic scars that continue to shape our understanding of the past. This type of creative honoring of history can also be applied to more abstract or mythological narratives. For example, director Guillermo del Toro's film Pan's Labyrinth is a reimagining of Spanish folklore, drawing on the rich mythological traditions of the Iberian Peninsula. By taking the abstract, symbolic narratives of the past and conjuring them into concrete, visual forms, Del Toro creates a film that feels both deeply rooted in history and surprising, even subversive, in its reinterpretation of classic themes. Through this process, he not only honors the cultural heritage of Spain, but also reveals the complex, hidden meanings that underlie its mythology.